So we're at this point where Recon Breakpoint is now up to 30% off. And please, if you are watching this video thinking I'm trying to do a gloat fest or beat down on Ubisoft and all that, that's not the point of this video. I wanted Recon Breakpoint to be better than it is. I wanted it to have a good following. I wanted a community to embrace the game. I wanted people to love it. But we have to face the reality. I wanted this game to be good. I made videos to the positive side of this game, and it released and it had its issues. And I think why people are probably disenfranchised, and I'm not talking about people who just want to troll and say Ubisoft games. No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who played Wildlands, who owned Wildlands, and wanted for Breakpoint to be very good. That was the core community. That was the community that wanted this game to come out and shine, and the developers ended up embarrassing the customers and the supporters. So a company like Ubisoft, I have to say this. Ubisoft has been seen in a very weird light in the past few years. And from Assassin's Creed and a few other games that they had brought out, they were starting to gain consumer confidence little by little. And, the naysayers were starting to look bad. They were starting to put the naysayers, qualms to rest. And then they went ahead and did this. And so now the people who paid $120 for the Ultimate Edition or the Gold Edition are now looking really bad. I have to mention my story here. I bought the game, and somehow as I was watching like SkillUp's review, Upper Echelon's review, some of those reviews were talking about a few things, and I don't care what your feelings are about them. These guys are the people who covered Tom Clancy games for years, so we listen to them. I mean, I know that you may not agree with what they say, and I don't always agree with what they say, but I went ahead and refunded my copy and got the Uplay Plus. Said, parting with $15 versus parting with $60 are two different things, so let me give it a shot. If it's good, then I'll eat the $15 loss, and if it's bad, I'll still eat the $15 loss either way. And I played the game for a little bit, but then I started to see like, okay, these are some of the limitations with this game. These are the places and the aspects of this game that need work. And then the Division brought out the update, brought out the PTS and all those other things. And, I'm primarily wanting to serve the Division 2 community. So I put it aside for a little bit until I just went back and I was like, wow, I'm already way behind. And so sitting here and looking at the price, it just brought out the people who were already suspicious and already skeptical about the so-called Ubisoft mandate to do well in terms of making and creating games. Now, as of today, the 29th of October, there's been an article where somebody on Ubisoft, I was reading an article on my phone, I can't remember the publication, they said that they are going to be bringing back a lot of the elements that make Ghost Recon. So they wanted to bring some military style experience and the hardcore gritty experience that comes with Ghost Recon. This is what the article said. If I can find it, I'll put a picture of it here in post-production for you guys to see. And I wondered to myself, so y'all knew that the community was wanting these things, and you guys went ahead and brought out a microtransaction-centered game, a microtransaction-centric game, a game that was not centered around those gameplay elements, but it centered around microtransactions. So I'm scratching my head thinking, are we in a weird cycle where these developers try to just toe the line every single time to see if they can push profits? And I've started to realize that it's a mundane effort. Unless they're not cognizant of how long it takes to actually win consumer confidence, except what they're saying is winning consumer confidence doesn't really take that long. It's something where they feel like a lot of gamers are going to forget, but they tend to forget that, hey, not a lot of gamers forget. And then the people who are bitten twice then become people who tell other people, hey, don't go close to an Ubisoft product. And this is not the case that I want to be seeing. I mean, I cover an Ubisoft game on my channel. I play a bunch of Ubisoft games. I think my Ubisoft library is almost as big as my Steam. My Uplay library is almost as big as my Steam library in terms of games and free games that, Ubisoft has given away in the past that I've gotten. They did the 30-year anniversary and they gave out, I think, a video game every month. And I was able to fill up, my Uplay library. And so these situations, in some cases, they sadden me. Now, some companies, if they make a gaffe like this, I'm like, yeah, I don't really care because I don't really roll with their products. I don't really play their games. And so it doesn't necessarily bother or affect me, if you understand what I mean. But in this case, I'm just, thinking to myself, wow, what a wasted potential. Because if we look at it from the side of everybody, if this game was designed to appeal to the customers and the end consumer, people who play tactical military style shooters, and they would have embraced the game would have sold well, the game would have had a positive light, and Ubisoft would have been able to market any other game that is coming from there. But now what they want to do is they now want to pull all their games, which I don't know if that's an effective strategy. It's a good PR strategy to announce that you're going to pull all your games back and go back and work on them. I'm like, saying that to me goes like, why would you be pulling all your games? I mean, isn't this the one that was bad? Why not just make the other ones better? Weren't you making the other ones better in the first place? And so, if you want to dig deep into that, you're going to go down the rabbit hole. So I really want Ubisoft to do well. I really do. And the reason I say so is because they have the potential. They have gifted and talented developers and idea people that work in all the different Ubisoft pockets. I mean, they've been able to create some of the longest lasting franchises that we've seen. Assassin's Creed, as many as people that have played, or if you play Assassin's Creed, that there was a lot of pushback when they decided to go the new RPG route and all that stuff, but still they were trying to innovate and do things their own way. It made a lot of people drop along the way, but at the same time, it seemed like they were doing okay. But then they put the time savers in Odyssey. People didn't really push back too much because the game was also okay in its own sense. They went for a Witcher style open world, massive gameplay, addition in terms of the game. So I think that provided some kind of, I would say, trade-off. At the same time, they tried to do Ghost Recon, and the game necessarily didn't have the trade-off for them to justify microtransactions. And for those of you who ask me, hey, so are you for microtransactions or against them? I'm against them, but I don't critique them anymore. The reason I don't critique them anymore is because I actually play games that have microtransactions. I don't buy microtransactions often. I'll buy skins. I'll buy a skin here and there. I'm not going to say, oh, I never touch any. No, I'll buy a skin. If I want a skin, I'll buy it. If you understand what I mean. Now, should I encourage that? No, I know better. So I'm going to slap myself on the back of my palm for you guys to let you know that I know better, but I still misbehave and pay a few dollars for skin. Okay, I'm sorry. That's my vice. All right, forgive me. But at the same time, to go back and be critiquing what I support is a little, in my opinion, hypocritical. So if I wanted to take the stance against microtransactions, which I do have the stance that they don't need to be in the game, don't get me wrong, but if I want to stand here and announce that, hey, I don't like microtransactions, they don't need to be in games, then I need to switch. And I feel like, that's all I feel like, I need to switch and move to games that have absolutely no microtransactions at all. And there are games like that, but it just happens to be that most of those games I do not play. So yes, I don't want to see microtransactions in games, but once in a while, I will find myself getting a few microtransactions, but that's not often anymore. I can say, my record has been better. I bought one skin in Mortal Kombat 11, but I've not bought any skins in the Division 2 because I feel like they abandoned a lot of the ideology from the Division 1. Division 1 was so good. I bought some skins there too. And to be very honest, I want to quote a research that somebody actually cited. A developer said that male players, male gamers like to change their avatars. The avatars look, and it's like grown men with Barbie dolls. For some strange reason, it's a psychological thing where male gamers want their avatar, their characters to look good, especially if they're in a third-person game. That's one thing that male players want to see all the time. And so when they sell skins to us, I think they know exactly what they're doing, because they know we will either grind for these skins or spend money if we are just like super antsy and we have a little bit of change to put towards it. But let's put that conversation aside and let's look at this Ghost Recon thing. So with the steps that they're taking, they're probably going to sell the game at some kind of a loss. I will be happy to buy the game if the game has actually been well done and revamped and done some, maybe they've done something to it. I'll be happy to buy like I did go back and play Wildlands. I bought it, day one, but day one I wasn't a fan, so I didn't necessarily play too much because the Division 1 was out then and in full cycle. So, you got to play only one game if you have limited time. But I think this is another thing that just kind of puts out the the shortcomings and the sickness in the gaming industry, and that's greed. And whenever greed comes in to take the place of, quality, then you're going to see the loss that comes in. Greed has never paid off any development company. Greed has never paid off any publisher. For anyone that thinks a publisher or developer is making a lot of money right now and carrying out greedy practices, that practice is not going to be able to build a 100-year company. It's not going to be able to build a 100-year gaming or software company. It won't. If you want to build a 100-year company, you cannot build it on greed. Now, if you want to get the short-term gains and make shareholders, on the short run happy, then yeah, you can put out greedy tactics and they may work temporarily, but that's not how it works. After multiple decades, you will fizzle out, and the person who's been able to keep loyal fans and loyal generations of fans is going to go ahead and take over that business. So I'm of the mind that that's the case, and I think that we see it in everyday modern economics, everyday modern business world. So Ubisoft, at least you guys admitted your mistakes, so I wouldn't say kudos to you yet until you modify and start to bring out at least 10 titles without any of these issues. I'll be counting. I'll count. So right now we're waiting for Beyond Good and Evil. The game is coming out. That's a brand new title. We're waiting for Watch Dogs Legion. We're waiting for some other Ubisoft games, and so I'll be counting how they all launch. If they launch very well, I would say about 10 games is, I think, a good place for them to be able to say, okay, we've learned our lesson. But if they bring out 1 or 2 or 3 games and they say we've learned our lesson, I'm going to tell everybody that's kind of looking at any Ubisoft game, you better buy at your own risk. I bought The Division 2 and I made a video saying, hey, I want to experience all the bugs in it. I said it in a video before the game came out. So people that are saying, oh, how can you be ruining Division 2? Dude, I went and braced for whatever I was going to find because I wanted the game. And I was like, I'm going to play the game regardless. And so that's the kind of the mindset you want to go in with Ubisoft games, but don't go in with a lot of them like that because you might be super disappointed and burned. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much. Let me hear what you think in the comment section below. I think the gaming industry is going to learn its lesson. It will. It has to. If it doesn't learn its lesson, it's going to take its ball and go home, which I don't want to see. I want to see competition, which is going to bring better games to the market. And if they don't want to learn, the indie games are going to take, they're going to take them on and do a good job. So that's all I have. Once again, I just want to say thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.